o'clock in the morning. Thank God the staff would just wave at me in my flipping house coat, because I was going to go and buy cigarettes and like smoke 100 cigarettes overnight and not tell anybody and lie to everybody. And like I say, thank God the 7-Eleven staff knew who I was, because otherwise, I mean, the emotions, everything that's attached. So I said to people, I'm much more empathetic, sympathetic, kinder about people that have addictions, whether it's to drugs or to alcohol or to gamble, whatever the hell their addiction
I
is.
I get it.
Right. And so, because I'm like, I did shit, pardon my language, and I never ever, I was like, you're a professional person, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, yeah. And I'll go steal cigarettes and I'll go around the corner and I'll smoke them all and then I'll lie to everybody. And I'm thinking, so that's addiction. And, I've learned that. And so what have I done? I mean, I've gained, oh my God, way too much weight. So what do? You call, carbohydrates are best. Sugar is king. Right? I'm like, no, they're not. They're going to kill you. But you replace it with something, either that, or I mean, for a while it was like wine. Well, then I was like, okay, this is not good. You're drinking way too much wine, right? And then COVID happened, and who isn't drinking wine?
Right.
I made a post today. Somebody shared it where it showed, 2K. You were in a liquor store in January, and you'd have 2 bottles, and then in February you had 3 bottles, and then March, so it had stuff for every month. And by September, there's you or me pushing a cart of about 25 cases of wine. And I thought, oh boy, is this true about a whole bunch of people, man?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just gonna look at that post.
And then I think, oh my God, then there's probably, I'm like, people are probably thinking like, oh my God, like, is she an alcoholic? And I'm thinking, well, look at all the people that are reacting. Then I guess I got a lot of alcoholic friends too. I need you to type in into the top, a compassionate tomorrow, 3 separate words, please. I just want to show you something, and then we'll start, I don't know, talking about 7,000 things.
Compassionate tomorrow. Okay, I can see a picture.
So a friend of mine
starts with the gift of love. Okay.
Last night, a friend of mine, really good dear friend of mine, he's also a coach, but he was coaching me, but friends, it's hard being in a friendship and having a coach. But anyway, he created that for me and because of course now I'm learning that, oh my God, every stupid platform, you have to know what pixels, or you have to know all the different stuff.
We're going to do
otherwise you're cut off and stuff. So anyway, that's the name of my company that I have never ever told people about. And it's, to me, I still go, what a weird name. But a compassionate tomorrow represents act.
I like it.
Well, I love you. Thanks for saying that. So I'm going to give you some history and tell you some stuff, okay?
Okay, sure.
Okay, and so okay, I'll start. Okay, I have one son. My son Daryl Shane lives in heaven. My son Daryl.
Okay, because it says Daryl's mom. Okay. On your Facebook profile. Okay,
oh my God, I'm so pathetic. I have about 400 email addresses. Well, really only 5 or 6. I've branded myself. I have a blog that I never do ever in WordPress, and it's Daryl's mom. And I was doing really good, and then life fell apart. So branding, I have one child, and he died, and I died when he died. And this whole thing for me right now, I'm 66 years old. I'm doing a rebuild, Jonathan, not just a rebrand, but I'm doing a rebuild of this woman. And it's been one hell of a journey, man. And then my dad died a couple of years ago, and then my mom died 10 months later. And so I'm all by myself, and my family lives in heaven, and I'm here.
Got it.
And I suffer from I've come such a long way. I suffer from post-traumatic stress, but I'm a survivor, and I also experience some grief, but I'm a warrior, and I'm strong, and I'm getting through it every day.
Okay.
So
Love you
for
even
the
more
last
already.
many years, and then of course I have a full-time job. I'm a fundraiser for a flipping library that I'm
Yes.
going to be retiring from. I was going to be retiring, and then of course COVID happened, and then I fractured my foot a month ago.
Yes.
And you know, you throw your hands up in the air and go, okay, God, what the heck is it? What do you want?
Yeah.
Right? You know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're like, okay. So I am, and I've lived I learned this from my therapist for many years, and this isn't sympathy. I'm just trying to give you some insight. My confidence, I am the best champion cheerleader of anybody in the universe, even like a rock or bugs, and I don't even like them. When it comes to myself, I'm not, and I've never been, I don't know how to do that. And
Okay.
because, so, it's the I'm not good enough syndrome. So anyway,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
now
I
that
get
I'm
it.
66 years old and I'm going to retire, and if I don't do my passion, I've been speaking for a long time. I've been a Toastmaster for 12 years. I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. I'm a motivator. I'm a mover shaker. Community is my breath. I volunteer a lot. I've emceed events for free because that's who I am. You're a community. You just do everything for free. Last year, my revenue was only $250. And this year, of course, it's been nothing so far. I never built a list. I don't have enough testimonials. I don't have enough clients. And I never could, and I don't know if you know Natalie Plamondon, she's an amazing speaker. She talks about picking a lane. And you know, you would know this because you've built yourself and your credibility in your business. You know, you think, I can talk about communication. I can talk about leadership. I can talk about grief. I can talk about depression. Shit, I can talk about anything. And then you're going, well, you've said it and others have said it to me 1,000 times. So what's your credibility? What's your expertise? And then I crumble because I go, I don't know. I don't know if I have any. You know, can you say to people, well, because I suffered through this and I have depression and I did this and blah, 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 that I have any expertise? I wrote down a few things so that I would try to stay focused with you. I'm alive because of compassion, Jonathan. I'm alive because most of my friends, 99% of my friends didn't know my son personally, and they've kept me alive. They've loved me. They've picked me up. When I was suicidal, they saved my life. And I'm not suicidal anymore. Now I'm like going to kick ass before I leave this world. I'm just like, God, don't listen to that other stuff because I'm not done now, right? So empathy, and you talked about it, and I've been for years, but I talked to a few people and then they discouraged me because compassion wasn't the right word, and now empathy, and now everybody's doing empathy and leadership, and I'm going, oh, well, I was ahead of you guys long time ago, but I never did anything with it because everybody just like, well, what are you talking, leadership is strategy, and you know what I mean, all the buzz. And I went, I don't care if you don't have empathy as a leader. I don't care. And of course, so now I'm going, oh my God, is that my lane? And also resilience, because I've been through, I've experienced more loss. And again, what I'm telling you is not for sympathy. It's just to let you know.
It sets the tone. Yeah.
I have a very, 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 very extensive loss history, whether it's marriages, my child, my family, lots of stuff.
Can I ask how old Dara was when he passed?
Daryl had just has turned 21. He was 21 and 2 weeks old. And he died in a car accident. He hit a power pole. And he is the love of my life, was my best friend. And I've been on my own since then. I was married at the time, not to his father, to another person. And I've been on my own for 22 years. So I'm pretty strong and courageous and resilient and empathy, and I'm kind. It's another thing that's really good about me. So now, as I told you, and why didn't I find you sooner, Jonathan? I know.
Thank David Guthrow, right?
Well, and see, I don't know David very well, aside from we're members of both CAPS, and we reached out and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, when he referred you, and I went, okay, I need to pay attention to this. And then, of course, took the course and fell in love with you and Lindsay. So the thing is, though, and that's where my first question will be to you, is because I spent a shitload of money on hiring a coach, a local coach. She's very good. She builds websites. She's a brander, a marketer, all around. And she's very good. And also she's a friend of mine, but not a recent friend. So again, as I said to you, I don't want to, and if I have to change my contract or figure out what the hell I want to do. Anyway, then I meet you, and I used to be, years ago, I learned a lot about social media. I learned a lot about video because I used to be the social media manager for 2 different districts of Toastmasters.
Oh, cool.
So I learned a lot. But it's piecemeal, like like me going, I don't know how many pixels there is in a picture to do that, or how to do it, or Canva. Ooh, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? So, as an older, mature geek,
I love it.
I'm starting to learn all this stuff. So anyway, I've been thinking this last several days, and I put so much effort, and because I'm like, okay, I really want to do this with you, but then I'm going, okay. And we talked about collaboration, and I'm like, I don't know how the hell this is going to work, because the way now how much do you, because for me to spend another, like the money that I've spent and I'm going to spend on this being part of this course, plus to spend thousands more, is like insanity, because then if I told you how much I will have spent, we'll be going, and you have no revenue. Are you crazy? Or that's what I might think.
But it's all towards a purpose, right?
Absolutely. Well,
I've invested way over 6 figures in my own education, and I don't regret it. One of it was with a lady for 25,000, and she ended up being batshit crazy, but at the same time, I also learned how not to be in a coaching relationship because of the way she treated the group that I was in. But I still learned from her, and I was all the better for it. But yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. So, well, and I mean, if a person has like $1 bazillion in the bank, okay, like right now, I still have a full-time job, right? And I'm looking at possibly give my retirement of January. Well, and the other day I was crazy enough to say, why don't you make it February 14th? Because that's the day that's the end of the graduation of Mastermind with Jonathan. I'm like, okay, well, we'll see. So because I'm on my own, because I will go to probably about 30%, maybe 40% of what I make right now, because I have a good job. I'm like, okay, Glenda, it's finally, you really need to monetize.
Yes, you do.
And so that I can subsidize my income, as well as finally feel my passion. But then I'm going, okay, am I on that? What the hell's my lane? What what is, I looked at, I got depressed over the sheets because I was like, oh my God, I can't answer some of these things.
That's okay. They don't have to be complete, but it just you can see what in 6 months' time
Totally.
where you're going to be. You're going to be astounded. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I just kept going, okay, Glenda, not everybody's going to have, doesn't have a 15-year-old business with client lists and I mean, a lot of this stuff, and for all of us, because we're all taking courses from each other, right? And so there's a lot of times I think, yeah, I know that. Yep, I know that. Or I'm like, oh my God, what a nugget. Okay, write that down, write that down. So there's lots of things that you I mean, when it comes to, by the way, I've had a GoDaddy, and don't laugh at me, please. I've got a GoDaddy account, and I have paid, over the years, probably 5 years, hundreds of dollars. Now I have just the domain through them, name. Who hosts my site? I don't know, nobody. WordPress? I don't know, somebody. I know nothing about any of that. I know I can give somebody my passwords,
Yep.
and
We'll look at
I
it.
hated trying to build it and create it and talk about myself. Like, that's, I think most people have that problem. I could write the most brilliant bio or something for you or introduce you, and me, it'd be like, Anya Sheard's a stick. Or no, but you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. So
Okay.
I went, okay,
So what have you contracted this lady to do for you?
well, I am in her academy, and she
Okay.
put me into this academy because she knew that I was very, and then also to build me a website, right?
Okay.
Or to take my website, because my good God, I don't know if you've been there, but if you have, nobody in the world would ever, they'd be like, oh my God, why does this woman have a website? She should have a permanently under construction sign or something, right?
Oh.
So, but then, like I say, I hired her. I was very happy, and I still love her. But can I convert the dollars to something else? Could I get her to do more business coaching with me and stuff? I'm hoping, I'm thinking. But then I'm
Okay.
going, it depends if I'm spending, because like I say, you have to recognize this is me and me,
Yes.
okay? Me with a job, making no money as a professional speaker right now.
Yes.
Then what the hell do I do? Do I go and I'm like, okay, now I need to spend even more thousands of dollars, whatever it is, so that I'm doing everything with you guys, rather than going, okay, well,
Mm.
I'm doing this with
Mm.
them, but then we have to collaborate with Shauna. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, to me,
Okay. Yeah,
that
I do. I
just
do.
makes it, then, well, what I'm doing, then I'm going, oh, well, look at those two people, or not people, those two, it's sort of, you're both in the competitive thing. It's not like you're selling blue candies and she's selling apples. You know
No.
what I
So
mean?
what's her name again?
Shauna Madsen, and her name, Shauna, Shauna Madsen. Her name of her company is Madsen Avenue.
Oh, cool. I like that.
And she's got Encore Academy. So what she did is she put me into, because she's like, what's your mission? What's your vision? What, all the stuff that I know this, like, because I am a businesswoman and like kind of have some knowledge. And I also work with this as a fundraiser for my library, and I know all about, and of course couldn't come up. And then I learned that, like, the other night we had Lois Kramer. God bless that woman's brilliant. And and then I'm looking at other people's, and it's like, it's got to be an example. I help leaders or communities, and then something to do with resilience, empathy, and then solution based. That's got to be what your tagline is, right? Like,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
help, you do, you whatever.
How do you spell?
So anyway,
I'm still trying to find her. How do you
okay,
spell Shauna? Is it with a U or a W?
hold on a second here. Shauna,
Yeah.
and then her last name is Madsen.
Oh, Madsen. Ah, okay.
Yes. Okay.
And where is she based?
Her company is Madsen Avenue.
Let me see if I can find that now. That was
Um,
Madsen Avenue. MadsenAvenue.com, creating opportunities for growth. Lemons and limes.
and thank you for listening, like
Oh,
you
I
have.
love to listen. We're gonna have so much fun. I'm excited. I already got a vibe when I saw you on the event when you said I'm in, and then you said, but I've already committed to somebody, and when you said that you committed, well, I respect that, and let's just see how we can work together. Okay, I got a couple of links of hers now, so I can deep it. So your contract with her is to build you a new WordPress website, or what's the
No,
contract?
she was going to, I think it was called, is it called Square?
Yeah,
She builds in Square, which I'm
perfect.
going, good, that's nice,
Yeah.
good.
Square
Um,
is good for people who don't really understand how to build a website because it's all templated, and
right.
you can make it look very good. We don't use
So
Square
yeah,
because, yeah,
so I went into the academy. I'm starting, we're supposed to be doing these lessons, blah blah blah, about mission, vision, value. We're trying to build me and build a brand, right?
yes,
Rather than what I have on my pathetic website. Um, and then I fractured my ankle, and for
I
about
mentioned
three
that.
weeks, life went to hell, right? And so it was like, who cares about anything about a website or about brand? Nothing, right? And then, so she was good. She came and supported me, as a friend, and then, of course, and then shortly after, and then I hired, I'd hired her, blah blah blah, and went, okay, I don't care about this right now. I can't do this mission, vision, value, which, and uh, and then I took your course, which, and I'm sure you can tell this, I'm a very excitable person, and I can sometimes do things based on pure emotion.
Yes,
And so over this last this last weekend, I've been analyzing and going, okay, are you just, is this all emotional, and are you just all excited and blah blah blah, or are you solid, Glenda? Right? And of course, and then of course I check out your website and I think about this and I read through the notes and I look at some of the stuff that I learned, and I know the value and the importance. And I don't mean to sound depressing when I say this, Jonathan. This is my last kick at the can. Like, I'm on the
got it.
latter part of my
Yep,
life,
yep, yep.
and I'm like, okay, and I learned so much. Everybody must have learned so, like, the value that you gave us, and that's what it's all about, is being. And then I go, yeah, well, he's got value. Look at what he can create and what he can do. And then it comes back to me, Jonathan, and I go, what do you got, Glenda?
You got a lot.
So,
We just need to get it out on the table and put it in piles and work out which pile we're gonna run with, and
you
then
know,
line it
so
up.
and I know that, about the pick a lane. You can't be an expert web designer and an expert actress and an extra all these different things. I know, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I know I'm good at lots of things,
Hmm.
and I'm a good solid leader as well.
Yes, you are.
I just have, for a while, the longest time, I'm like, okay, I could talk about mental health, which I still could. But as a colleague of mine said, Glenda, you can, and you know this, and I know this, you can, okay, first of all, you build your brand, this is what I am, blah, blah, blah. But then you can talk about all these different things that spoke, right?
Yes,
It's just
yes,
like
yes.
the social media spoke with your website, and then everything that
Yeah,
spokes
yeah.
out of it, right? Well, it's the same as the speaker. Like, I think about, and I thought about a lot of times, what different things that you got to talk about, right? How you incorporated story. I
Hmm.
know this. I just don't, I've never done a good job at building a brand and establishing what is my area of expertise.
Okay, I understand. And the stories
So,
that you told me about your losing your mom and then your dad and being Daryl's mom, I mean, they're amazing stories already. And you keep it together and you put your best smile on and you take a next step forward and being a distinguished Toastmaster and being a fundraiser for a library. I mean, this is all testament to the kind of person that you are before people even meet you. And when they meet you and they get your energy, they're going to hire you because, first of all, they'll just want to be around you because you're fun to be around. And second of all, you've got the energy that they need and you're an overcomer. And there's no, when someone invests in money in you, you're going to make sure that they overcome too, whatever it is that this lane is that we've got to find you.
well, and that's the thing. Like, if for me, and it's not because, well, and I've got to stop that. I've got to just believe in myself because
Yes, you
I
do.
always find I, my therapist tells me that I always turn it to other people. I don't bring it back to myself. But as I said to you earlier, I'm alive because of others, but I feel, I don't know whether it's leaders, I don't know who the hell it is, but if I can make it, and it's not like for several years I didn't try to leave the other way. But if I can go through the different things, and I don't mean this from an arrogant perspective, I think that, like, I can be a hope whisperer, or I don't know, that sounds corny, hope whisperer. But, whether it be, I don't care whether you're the CEO of Costco, or you're a pastor, or you're a runner, we all go through times in life. And believe me, because I suffer from depression. I was just talking to my therapist about September, October, November, or December are very challenging.
Yes.
September is, for me, is the anniversary of my mother's death. Then no, October 7th is my son's birthday.
Yeah.
Then my dad's anniversary. Then my son, and then it's Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. And the
But
days are short and there's not a lot of daylight
and
yeah.
it's dark, but I've learned, like right now I'm going through, because it's back to school, and of course we're really worried about our
Yes.
province's bunch of their
Yes.
idiots anyway. But
Yes.
all the buses now, they're all practicing, all the drivers, and it took me years to figure out what was going on. It was my therapist that said, Daryl used to ride the bus, Glenda, and I went, yeah, why? She said, well, you're missing that.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
going back. And
Yes.
I went,
The triggers.
holy cow.
Yeah.
So now I'm able to go, okay, the buses are bothering
Yeah.
me.
I'll share with you. This was the first year. It's 12 years since my mum passed, and very, very, very close to my mum.
Mhm.
This was the first year I didn't lose it in 12. And the reason was the therapist that I was working with last year, she said to me, 2 months ahead of mum's passing, you need to write this in your diary. 2 months from now, and I had a countdown. So I didn't suddenly look at my diary and went, ah, my Facebook memory is like, ah. I was preempting it and I was celebrating it. So on 29th
Good
of
for
July,
you.
which was when mum passed, very, very cool story about, I mean, she died in England and I was here and
Oh,
I'd gone home and I'd spend a week with her and I'd nursed her every night. And I said to the Macmillan nurse, I said, what do I do? And she said, your mom's strong. She could last another 3 months or she could be gone tomorrow.
right.
Just make your peace, say everything you need to say, and when you need to go, you need to go. But don't feel that you have to stay and don't feel guilty for leaving. Just make sure that you. So I did. We had the best week ever. And because of mum's lung cancer, she couldn't lie down. She had to sit up all the time. My dad was exhausted, so he went and slept in the spare room. I was on Canadian time, so I was 9 hours time difference to her anyway. So to me, the night was the day, and we had the best week ever. We had the
Wow.
best week in a long, long time, and we didn't agree on everything. Truthfully, she always thought I undermarried. To the day she died, I undermarried. I was like, really? Okay, we'll beg to differ on that one, Mum. I'm married 33 years next month, Um,
Aw,
and you
that's
met Debbie, you
awesome.
saw her. But anyway,
Yes.
but the upshot was this July, I knew it was coming, and I celebrated the memories, and I didn't mourn the loss. And that's the first time I've been able to do that.
Good. Yeah, and it can be up and down, right? I mean, when, the first year and again, I've learned that, and I learned um, whether it be celebrated or acknowledge it, being able to go, okay, Glenda, you know what's going on, okay? And it's okay that you're struggling, right? I struggle with anxiety a lot, like a lot. And so, but when I'm able to, rather than knock myself out going, oh, for God's sake, you've been doing this for years, yada, 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 going, okay, you know what's going on. You can get through this. You got just, there's different tools that you can use, Glenda. I do a lot of, it was quite funny. My mom would laugh. I have to logic. I've been on my own for 22 years. You can't believe the stuff that breaks around my acreage and the stuff that I have to know that I don't know about.
This is
Oh
what
my
Wycliffe,
goodness.
right? So the farm is called
My
Wycliffe,
subdivision
is
is
that right?
Wycliffe. Yeah.
Yeah.
As you see, I'm a high I also use hashtags. I have for years. I learned that when I did the social media for the district, and then tried to teach people. You have no idea the value of a hashtag, man. You
Mhm.
want similarity, commonality, you want to know this? Type in a hashtag and see what
You bet.
happens, right?
You bet.
It's like with Toastmasters. You type in the flipping word hashtag Toastmasters, you get like a gazillion. And whether they're in Saudi Arabia or Vernon, British Columbia, or Ontario, or Chicago, or wherever they are,
Yeah, I
right?
did Toastmasters for 2 years with Jamie. Oh crap. Um, can't think of his surname now. Interesting. See his face, not his name. Anyway, I loved I learned a lot. 2011, 2012, I learned so much in Toastmasters. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it really, the greatest gift, the reason I joined Toastmasters, and I tell this story quite a bit, and I can tell this story as a speaker about, I was hired by the library. We had to raise $1.5 million. And colleague had come out with me to a pitch, and she said to me, you need to go to Toastmasters. And I said, why? She said, you're so passionate, you're killing people. Well, as a fundraiser, you damn well better be passionate. But then I'm a pretty passionate person about all kinds of stuff. She said, you need to listen. You need to listen differently, better in every aspect. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But she was right, because as a fundraiser, you need to be able to leave the message and come back and go, okay, they're in for 5, they're in for 25, they're in for $1 million. You can't be like, are they giving us $10?
Hmm.
And so I joined Toastmasters, and it was life-changing in every aspect. And then as a speaker, because I was already speaking, but of course I was, doing everything for free because I was, not a professional, even though I have been. And so then I learned, built confidence and did many, many different types of speeches, so forth and so on. And then did the leadership thing, and then decided, well, I'll get the DTM, which really means very little unless you're a Toastmaster in the speaking world. It's like, yeah, whatever. If you have, through CAPS or through now NSA, and you've got those designations, it's much more recognizable. Toastmasters, they're like, yeah, 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 whatever. But for me, it was a huge accomplishment, because you
Good
learned
for
a
you.
lot, like I say,
Yep.
especially about leadership, right? Um, yeah, so I mean, in my emails, well, not in my that's the other thing. Like, I have too many emails. I'm trying to now focus. I've got my one that's my name, Glenda at glendasheard.com. Then I've got my Hotmail one. Then I've got I've
Hmm.
got a Daryl's mom at Gmail. Oh my God. So I spend half my life, and I'm like, Glenda, you need to maybe only have two, like your business one and then your Hotmail, because I've had my Hotmail for 100 years, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Um, but again, so that's, and again, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk so much.
Oh, you're
Um,
okay.
but I need you to know who I am and where I've
I love it.
been in
I
order
love that you've given me this background.
to be
Love you even
able
more already.
to go where I can go,
You bet. You bet.
right?
So with the contract with the Madsen people, I mean, obviously you're going to respect what you've already agreed to do with them. Is that set in stone, do you think, or do you think there's an option to go a different route for some of their services?
She also does all kinds of, she's she's creative. She's very creative. She's brilliant. I think and again, I'd have to talk to her. We were supposed to meet this week, and the day that was our meeting, a long time colleague of mine died.
Oh gosh.
And I had just learned, and I was like, Zulu. Like I was in shock and I just said, I can't do this. I can't, like,
No,
who cares
no.
about anything? And
Yeah.
so then she got busy and we're supposed to meet next week. So
Okay.
could I convert? Because it's a shitload of money, as you could imagine, because
Hmm.
she's good, builds websites, whatever. And could I convert it into maybe coaching? And because she does print material, she does the neatest cards that say the neatest things, like the neatest things. Like if I sent you one of these cards, you'd keep it for the rest of your life. It could be a
Love. Yeah.
pickle and it would say, I don't know, that's not a good example, but so anyway, she makes these wonderful cards.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to have that much money in cards, but could I use it for different materials that I need? You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Whether it be
Yep. Trade show
business
banners
cards,
and
brochures, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it would take a while. And do some coaching because I
mhm.
need, yes, and that's the other thing, because coaching makes you account. I mean, for God's sake, I took
I know you did. Yeah.
a
You
coaching
know this stuff. Yeah. So how much are you into it for? Can I ask?
4,300.
Okay.
And again, and yeah, you might go, and thank you for asking. And then I'm like, okay, so that's 9,000, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, typically our websites are more than that.
Right. So,
Our
well, I got
websites
a
are about
deal because
start
I
at about
signed up.
5,000.
Okay, I
So
signed up, and so just like you guys, if I signed up through the academy, then I got a discount on. Same thing
yeah,
for you guys.
yeah.
If you sign up with us, we give you a discount on the website, right?
That's how they do it. Yeah.
Right. So, and I mean, and again, because I've been to many courses and many, like, I get the whole gig as to how to back sell and upsell and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, because I'm like, okay, it's tomorrow. And today I accepted the invitation. And like, what the hell am I going to do? And then her and I couldn't meet. I value this woman, okay,
Yeah.
as a colleague and as a friend.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm very loyal, like really loyal, but I'm not rich. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So could I break the contract? Probably. Do I want to? It would bother me. It would
Mm,
bother me forever. I
mm.
probably, even if, you and we built me and I made $1 million, I guarantee you I'd go, I didn't do things right with
No, I
Shauna.
appreciate that. Yeah. So we need to make that a win. And it could well be if she can build you a beautiful. I mean, I like Squarespace sites. Don't get me wrong, and they look very good. I say we typically use WordPress, but Squarespace is good. And if we can come up with the story and the content, and you have a Squarespace site that we can translate that into, that's okay. And that's definitely doable. I mean, Erin Duffy, who you saw spoke, I didn't do her website. She came to me with it already done before we even started coaching. We've changed it a lot since because of the coaching, but at least she had a site to build on. So that's okay. Or, you could maybe do some mindset coaching with her, do some print design work and have all of that done. And we could help you with a WordPress site too. I'm easy. As I said to you last week, I'm easy. And she looks like a great lady, and I'd be very happy to have a call with her and just say, I'm going to help Shauna with, I'm going to help Glenda with this. And Shauna, I need you and I to sort of make sure that we cover this off and collaborate with it. I mean, Susan Elford, I spoke about, I mean, she came to me as a client, not for a website. She had a website. She had a full media company doing all of this for her. And in the end, we took her website that she had and we enhanced it so much you wouldn't even think it was the same site anymore, but she still had it to begin with. So it's fine, and I'd love to talk to her and just, we both have your best interests at heart, and our stuff works, and I think you got a good impression of who I am and how I work now, and I think we have a lot of
Well, and that's
similarities.
why we're still talking, or that's
Yeah,
why
we
we're
have a lot of
talking.
similarities.
Okay, I
We,
thought, you know what, I need to or I need to talk to you. Like,
yeah.
I'm sending you an email going blah 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 blah
No,
blah,
no, I love
blah, blah,
this is the best way, and
right?
especially when
And
you
I'm
can see
like,
somebody too.
no, I need to look in
Yeah,
his eyes. He needs
yeah.
to hear, you know, dialogue, emotion, body language, all the
Love it.
stuff that we know, right? And so now I won't be talking to Shauna, so because we can't talk to Shauna because she's not available to me anyway. I'm waiting to hear back from her. So because I need to be able to sit down and say to her, because she doesn't know yet. Like, and I mean, she might go, and I mean, I don't
We
think she'll do this, but she might go, well, then screw it. Let's just not do that. I don't imagine she
Well,
would do
she
that.
may, but she might also see it as a gift that you're going to have all of this extra content and dialogue that you can give her that she won't have to try and create because we've worked it out together.
Well, and also she understands because before I hired her, because I've known of the woman, I knew her and blah, blah, blah. And she comes very, very highly rated and
And you can meet her
references.
face to face as well, I guess, being in the
And
same
well,
town,
and I
right?
have. Hey, when I broke my foot, the woman was here next day with supper and came and spent time with me to make sure that I was, and I mean, we're when I say fairly new friends. But I've respected her, like I say, and watched her build, her business and that. So that's why I want to say to her, Shauna, this is what I've done. Okay. And I'm not, trying to break a contract because that's not who I am. But I've also done this. And so between the two, I've spent a shitload of money and I'm being honest with both of you. Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So with the shitload of money that I've got right now, we need to convert it that next year
We
I can
do.
go, woohoo, guess what? I recoup
Yes.
that much money, right? And not just a recoup, but because that's why I'm saying it's one thing to say we're building a brand. I'm building. My brand is of course me, but I'm rebuilding myself. I'm going to change from being a fundraiser and community. I think I've told you this, and I don't know if I can do something with this. Community is so huge to me. It's who I am. It is,
Yes.
it's like when I watch your posts and I'm like, oh, look, they went to the market. Oh, look, they're in Vancouver. Oh, look at the flowers that he's promoting. You know what I mean? So, and if you, of course, because I post a lot on Facebook, a lot
Yeah,
more there than anywhere. Um, and I live alone, and so social media is a big part of
it is getting
my
out there.
interaction
Yeah,
with people,
yeah.
and then getting the response back, as whether it's with
Especially your
business.
beaches at Puerto Vallarta. Oh man, I could so be there.
I yeah, I hadn't traveled except to where my parents lived and that was in Vernon in 30 years. I hadn't traveled except to
Wow.
Vernon twice a year.
Yes.
And then my mom passed away and my dad had passed,
Hmm.
and my mom and dad used to love to travel and they traveled everywhere. They were amazing.
Wow.
And so I decided to go to Puerto Vallarta, which was like a kid that was 4 going to flipping Disneyland, man.
Yes. Yes.
And I fell in love.
Yeah.
And then I went back 6 months later, and then I went back just in February, right? Like this year.
Yeah.
And just when then 2 weeks later, all hell broke loose for the world. Everybody's like, oh my God, right? And so it is so ingrained in who I am. And I've got several friends there in Puerto Vallarta that I've
Hmm.
made.
Hmm. Lovely. Lovely.
And I support a library. Do you know that I carried, oh my God, I carried over hundreds and hundreds of books in suitcases to Los Mangos Library. And we donated these books and all the kids.
Isn't that great?
It was it
Yeah.
was nuts.
Yeah. My
The
eldest
first
daughter
time
Gemma, the one, yeah, she lived in Nuevo Vallarta,
oh,
where the marina is there. She
Yeah.
lived there for 18 months with a beautiful boat, and he had a big home up on the hill. You know how the on the beach there's that long wooden boardwalk that goes out. So he would come out of his big hacienda up on the hill, come down with his buddies, and they'd walk out to the end of the wharf, if you like, and then the tender would come, pick them up, take them out onto the boat, which couldn't come too close, have dinner with all of his buddies, and then tender would come back, and they'd walk up, and of course the whole beach is like with this boat. It's called Invader.
Yeah.
Gemma
Wow.
loved it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
he was a gay man with several friends, and one of his friends was actually not arrested, sorry, kidnapped by a cartel, and
Holy
tried to
cow.
ransom him for money. And
Oh my
anyway,
God.
he ended up going to a local bank to get the money, but his other friend found out about it. They got the police. The police were all waiting. They got to the ATM, and suddenly the police all came in and got these kidnappers. But oh man,
Yeah,
something else that place.
what I loved, and I mean, I've only seen a little bit of Puerto Vallarta. I
Oh,
mean,
it's lovely.
the resort that I stay at, because I stayed at the same one, and because I'd had my hip done, I had to be careful as to how much. But I loved it. But that's what I
Yeah.
fell in love with.
Beautiful,
The
beautiful. I totally got it. I've been there 3 times, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I took a gazillion videos, of course, and I've known for years. I've coached many people, of course, for free, about doing the importance of video. And for a while, I want to do a podcast, and it's going to be called Keeping It Real, because of
Oh, I love
anything
it.
that I am is real. And if you keep it real, I don't care if it's in a meeting, if it's at work, if it's, as long as you've got dialogue, communication, and you're speaking real, then there's always effective communication. It's
Yes,
when I talk to you and you're going, what the hell is the woman talking about? That then there's a breakdown, right?
got it.
So I
Yeah,
thought I
you're
could
right.
bring in guests that would talk about whatever, empathy, I don't care, leadership, whatever. And then I need to do videos every day. I've got, because I took like pages and pages and pages and pages. I'm just like, I can't
I'm so
even.
glad you enjoyed it. And that's just a
Or
starter.
I yeah, but now I'm like, okay, now I need to learn how to do Canva.
But
Now I need to do
that's why I
this.
did it
And
over 6 months. And it's going to be a topic a week, and then teaching on a Tuesday, accountability on the Thursday, the Facebook group every day to sort of just make sure everybody knows where we're going with it. It's sort of slow and steady, but super fun. And yeah.
well, and having the support, because like for me, I've been, and I'm very, as you could probably tell, I'm very hard, most people are, but I'm very hard on myself.
Mm.
Um, and I've had different people say, you built a LinkedIn page. It may be lousy, Glenda. You have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have Instagram, you have a shitty website. You're right. But you've done these things, and it's been part of your survival. And yeah, half the stuff I'm like, I don't even remember how the hell I did that, right?
Well, you did good.
So,
And
you
and now
go,
we're gonna go good to great.
right. And so, yeah. And then like the world, I just want to, when I say, and I'm sure you hear this, I want to set the world on. And I've had a lot of people that have believed in me for a long time, and some of them have kind of dropped me because I think they got just tired of my blah 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 blah. And then it's one thing to talk, it's another thing to actually do it. And so not only do I need to prove that I can do this to myself, because I believe in myself, but I have some people that I need to also prove myself to.
Got
They
it.
invested me and then they left me because they're like, they were tired of me. And now I just want to go, I did it.
See?
I did it.
Told you.
See, finally.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, yeah.
And I
And
don't mean it like in a negative way, like, nah, 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 I did it.
no, I know, I
Or
know.
in a,
Plus,
you
you got three
invested in
people.
me and I finally did something.
You got at least three people sitting up there on heaven's bleachers, looking down, waiting for you to do this too, right?
Oh, well, at least one for sure. Yes, my kid has been, he's been cheering me on since he since he left.
Well, you heard my story from the camp with the little kid, right? Um, He was 9 years old, Richard. But his was the first hand up when I asked kids if they wanted to make a commitment. It was the first hand up. And no doubt in my mind, he made that commitment that night. And then the next day, he wasn't here. No one, 100-year storm. No one could have foreseen that.
Yeah.
But when I was
No.
able to tell his parents and tell the pastor and all that support team that what happened the night before, I mean, whew, yeah,
Yeah, no, I know. Well,
great
and
confidence in that.
it's interesting because through the years I've had many different experiences, and I have said to, because some people are very scientific, and I've said to people, you know what, you're kind of a hope killer. Like, you never, if a grieving person or a person that is telling you a hope story or a good story, they believe that God came down to the graveyard and shook their hand, it's good. Or, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but I'm like, don't ever, because I've had many people, and I'm like, the message was from Daryl. Did you know Daryl? Right? Like, now I'm much, and I'm not as ignorant, because there were times in the beginning you want to just paste him, and now I kind of, I think I should be a flippant comedian about grief.
I wonder that because there's a picture of you with a red nose.
Oh, yes, I did. I got paid a lot of money for a conference, and it was all about compassion. When my dad was dying, I took the noses too, and my mom and dad, the three of us had a moment. I wear a clown nose, and it is, and I gave them out, and I need to get more because I think it was a great prop. Everybody left with a clown nose, and it was to remind them of two things. One, that of course we needed to smile more often, and the importance of being able to laugh at yourself.
Absolutely.
That's a very, very valuable lesson that I have learned, because I'm so hard on myself. And when you're on yourself, you're by yourself and you're depressed and blah blah blah. Sometimes I just throw my hands up in the air and go, "You're a big guy," and I've got to laugh because it's like when I fractured my foot. I'm just like, "What the hell? COVID wasn't enough." I mean, once I got there, I mean, the first 3 weeks I was like, and then I was just like, "Okay, bud, help me out." And by the way, I'm co-author in a book with my friends Fong and Jessica. I have a book that will someday be published, and it's called, hopefully I'll publish this, because I've been doing it for 20 years, Jonathan. It's called Life at the Cemetery, and it is a collection of stories of experiences that I've had at the cemetery. Some are heartbreaking, rip your soul out. One is funnier than hell. The day that AMA had to come and find me at the cemetery when my van was broke down. That was a pretty funny story. Some are the most beautiful things I've ever seen of love in my life. And of course, I've never published it. And people are like, well, what'd you do when you lost Daryl? And I'm like, read every book at the library. So why the hell wouldn't people read? Well, who wants to read Life at the Cemetery? So now
that feels like
and
so
you told us about Otter. I love you. Yes. Because now I got Otter, and I don't know, I'm going to try the free version, because I'm like, I speak better than I write.
Me too.
And a lot of my speeches are all bullet points, because that's an effective speaker in my mind. Writing every word sound like it, right? So now I'm going, oh my God, Glenda, you can finish these flipping chapters. Just talk, blah, 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 blah.
There you go.
And it converts it into text. So thank you for that.
I got 5 more minutes. I got a call at 4:15. So just so you know.
Okay. So that's my story.
Got it.
I'm going to
You're in the right place.
Lashana
We're going to have a lot of fun.
And Monday, I know we paid tomorrow. We need to send our sheets. Some of mine are going to have, I don't know what kind of answers.
That's okay.
And I'll send them. And I value very much the time of, thank you for this, because it's easier for you to comprehend where I am.
I made a page of notes. I recorded this too, and I got it.
Okay. All right. So then we pay tomorrow, we send our sheets, and then we'll get an email that says, okay, when we're meeting and blah, blah,
That's the lady I've got to meet at 4:15, because she's been working on it all day, and I just want to check that Arnhem's got it all together. So, but you already got the Facebook group today. So yeah.
Okay.
We got you. I'm so excited to work with you. I really, really am. It's going to be a blessing.
Well, I'm like I say, I've been solid on this one because I've signed up for things before, Jonathan, spent money, blah, blah, and I heard this from other people, and I think we all have. And all week, even though I'm going, I don't know, can I afford this? How the hell am I doing this? You know, like going through lots
Of
of,
course, yeah.
I've been solid all, I'm like, but you learned this, you learned that. I
Yeah.
think they can do this, they can do that, we can do
Yep.
this. And so I've been solid all the way through, and that's why I'm like, I need to talk to you.
That's great. I'm glad you did.
Thank you.
I've really
Okay.
enjoyed this time.
So
Yeah.
then
I'll call you tomorrow.
good luck this time. And tomorrow I'll do all my stuff that I need to do.
Fantastic. And don't worry about
Okay.
the gaps. We'll work on that. No worries at all. Okay.
Okay. You're the best.
Bless you, my
Thank you,
friend.
Jonathan. Have a
See you
great
tomorrow.
weekend, and I'll see you online.
You bet. Bye.
Thank
Bye.